What's up guys, Master Turkey here, and I just want to do a quick little what I like and what I don't like about the Nintendo Switch. I really like the tactical feedback. I also love that it had a dock. Now, that sounds a little strange, but it could have just been a portable handheld. But instead, they decided to make it also available to hook up to your TV, and I just think this console really shined when it was hooked to my television, especially Breath of the Wild. If you're only playing Breath of the Wild on the Switch itself, on the small screen, I really encourage you to try the bigger screen. So I really like that this console is both portable, but also can be turned into just a regular console with the dock at home. I really liked this. I thought this was a nifty design. I love the fact that these controllers basically are modular in the sense that they can be placed into other devices and turned into a much more comfortable controller. Because the Switch itself is kind of hard to hold for a long period of time. So when you put it in the dock and then you have this nifty controller, it's really nice. But I also like the fact that you can take them out and just play them just like this. I mean, it believe it or not, it looked really strange to me at first, but it's very comfortable not to be kind of held to this sort of cramped form factor. The ability to kind of let loose and hold them how you wish and then use them like this, that's really pretty cool. I really did like that. The Switch shines when you can play it in many different ways and however you feel like. And I loved Mario Odyssey. Probably one of the best Mario games there is to date. I also loved Breath of the Wild because it's also one of the best Zelda games to date. Alright guys, now let's get over the stuff I don't like. I don't like the kind of spongy feel that the L and R bumper buttons have. The Z buttons, the Z trigger buttons are very tactile, but the L and R are kind of a little spongy. I didn't like that. You don't use them all that often, but it was something I don't like. I also don't like how hard it is to get the kickstand out. I mean, you really have to pry that kickstand just to get the kickstand out. I also didn't like the fact that the dock comes with these, see if you can get it in there, these plastic pieces right there. Okay, it's a little harder to see with the light that I have. There you go. It's this little plastic thing right here. That's what's causing the screen, which is plastic, to scratch when placed in the dock. You know, you got to be real careful when you're putting it in there so that you don't scratch the screen. I don't like that. That's a design flaw. I'm not sure why you didn't go with like Gorilla Glass or some sort of nice glass to put on this. You chose plastic instead. I don't know if that's because kids drop things. So this console is more geared towards kids. A lot of the titles are, and then it definitely feels like it's more geared towards kids. However, you don't see a lot of, young adults and middle-aged people dissing this console or something. They love it just as much as I love it, but your screen is plastic, and I'm not sure if you thought that was just because kids, you thought more kids would get it and more people would drop it. Not sure, but I think the screen itself being plastic is definitely a disadvantage. Other thing I didn't really like, although it's a very minor dislike, is kind of the feel of how you're holding the Switch. Most of the other consoles kind of are rounded, so it kind of gives you kind of a more open feel. The Switch feels a little bit cramped when you play it over long periods of time. Holding it, and you can kind of see that I'm using my pinkies to kind of hold it up, and that's sort of how I felt like it was a little more comfortable holding it. However, if you don't have large hands, I don't know how you're going to hold this for long periods of time. I also really didn't like the eShop. The eShop lacks a lot of things. It lacks Netflix, it lacks Amazon Prime Video. As far as being a portable device, you're missing a lot of media content that most of us would like to have when traveling. I also think it lacks the virtual console, which is pretty pathetic. Seeing as how most of the other consoles had this, I don't see it being much of a software problem. I feel it being more of a letting it drag out so that we just wait and want it that much more. I don't think that. Ugh. I also don't like that the Switch is missing from the eStore the virtual console. That's a huge problem, man. You're missing a lot of classic titles and a lot of titles that we all want and would love to have on the portable device. This would be a great emulator in your pocket if they would just come out with virtual console. And I'm sure a lot of people would buy Mario 64, Super Mario World. Again, even though we all purchased it with the Wii U and the Wii, so you might as well just put it on the Switch so that we can do it all over again. In conclusion, I would just like to say that this is a great console. I didn't necessarily like it as a portable device. I think you're lacking a lot of media content, the virtual console. You're basically lacking a lot of things, and it is a little harder to carry this around. It's not like this fits in your pocket or anything. You definitely need a case with it. It's not very flat because it has these nice little bumper things that make it a little easier to hold, kind of where your fingers go there. But it does make it harder to carry it around. So as a console, I'd say it's pretty damn good, especially with content like Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. However, you are lacking a deep game library similar to things like PlayStation and the Xbox. And I understand that it's a fairly new console, so you're not going to have that. But if they would just release the virtual console, then you would have a deeper backlog. So as far as recommending this to buy, I don't know that I could. I would say that it's a lot of fun for Breath of the Wild and a lot of fun for Super Mario Odyssey. But I could say that you could probably wait a while and get this in, 4 to 6 months when you have more titles come out, like Bayonetta 3. But all around, it is a nifty device, and it really is something that you kind of have to try if you're a Nintendo fan, or you just like portable devices in general. The NVIDIA graphics look beautiful. The screen, although fairly prone to scratching, does look really good, and the graphics are really good. So this device definitely would get like a B minus from me. I wouldn't give it an A or an A plus. I'm sorry. That's just not something I can do. The 30 frames per second that everyone seems to complain about, I don't think that that's such a problem. Even coming from a PC user, when you have such great games, you don't really realize that you're getting 30 FPS less than you would on a PC, or 100 FPS less than you would on a PC. Okay, that's fine. But you don't really notice that when you have Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, which are huge games with great content, amazing level design, and tons of hours of gameplay. I think you definitely do yourself a disservice if you're putting yourself off just because of the graphics or the 30 frames per second. Definitely think that you should try out the Nintendo Switch and see for yourself if you like it. Master Turkey, peace out.